Hello, everyone. I'm Kellan Heavican with the Brownfield Ag Network. I'm an anchor and reporter based in Nebraska, and we are talking about weed resistance. It's Weed Resistance Month with BASF. We've partnered with them for Weed Resistance Awareness Month to help farmers understand HPPD herbicide resistance and offer solution to help herbicide-resistant weeds from becoming a greater problem. And today, Vincent, a technical market manager, joins us with BASF. Hey, Liam, hey, we appreciate the time and look forward to this conversation.
Absolutely. Thank you, Kellan. Thanks for having me on.
So let's talk about HPPD resistance. What is it, and what are growers need to be aware of, and where do we kind of see that right now in crop health?
Yeah, absolutely. So HPPD resistance is something we're hearing more and more about across the countryside. Pretty difficult year coming for a lot of the Midwest with some of the lower rainfall and some of the drought type scenarios from last year, very much carrying into this year. Spent the last couple of weeks across Illinois and Iowa and Nebraska, and difficult to look at some of that crop, but definitely, kind of just getting back to the HPPD resistant issue. It's become more common. Unfortunately, a lot of our corn products, herbicides across the industry have HPPDs in them, and they've been relied upon pretty heavily to carry the weight of weed control. And we've heard this story before. They're beginning to falter after having all that pressure on them for all those years.
Liam, how long has this resistance been around in this industry?
Yeah, so I think the first HPPD product that came to market and was really popular was in the early 2000s, and it was really first started to crop up as a resistance issue in seed corn fields in the late 2000s. So I think about 2009 is one of the first documented cases.
So, when you engage with farmers, growers, producers, what are some issues and signs that tell them that they've got HPPD resistance in their fields?
Yeah, it's not too uncommon like some of the other signs that we see with other modes of action, but certainly the pre-emergence aspect is a little bit more difficult to track than post-emergence. Where with pre-emergence, sometimes you'll see, where a grower used to use a certain product, and he could rely on, let's say 4 to 6 weeks of control. Maybe it only provides 3 to 4 weeks of control, or he maybe thought that he got 90% of the weeds controlled, and now it's more like 50 or 60. So some of those gradual drops with the pre-emergence applications are somewhat evident with HPPD resistance. But when you start looking at post-emergence HPPD resistance, it's kind of the similar effect, where there may be individuals that are naturally resistant to a certain herbicide chemistry, and over time we control the individuals that are susceptible, and we select for the individuals that are tolerant and that will resist that herbicide. So it starts small, may start in a pocket or a corner of a field, and over time it just grows and expands to other parts of the field. So it's those are some of the watch out signs.
So, if they've identified this issue, what are some management practices that growers should be thinking of?
Yeah, I mean, I think in general, folks really need to understand what's in what's in your tank. Like, what application are you making, and what are the products that are being recommended, or what products are you choosing to put in that tank. And I think being cognizant of that can really help out to say, hey, do I really need this HPPD product in my pre and my post, where you're relying really heavily on that mode of action. And so I'd say being aware of that, and then trying to rotate that chemistry. So knowing which sites of action your water hemp, or your troublesome weed in your on your farm is resistant to, and then trying to incorporate effective sites of action. So I think, people have heard that a lot. Add more sites of action, and it maybe gets glossed over the fact that it should be use multiple effective sites of action. So if you know that you've got, for example, glyphosate and HPPD resistant water hemp in your field, and you put out, Liberty, Roundup, and an HPPD, you really only have one effective mode of action out there. So while you are spending that money, you're really only getting, the power of one herbicide out of that. So I think that needs to be, front and center of people's minds. Another one is just making sure that we're alternating our post knockdown sites of action. So if you're using, for example, two post emergence applications, making sure that you're, rotating between those. So if you're in a, extend flex soybean scenario, that if you're starting with Ingenia or dicamba, that you're coming back with Liberty, and that you're not following Ingenia by Ingenia, for example.
Well, Liam, appreciate it. That's Liam Vincent, a technical market manager with BASF. Appreciate the time here today. And of course, Brownfield has partnered with BASF for Weed Resistant Month to help farmers understand HPPD herbicide resistance and offer solutions to help herbicide-resistant weeds from becoming a greater problem. Once again, Liam, thank you very much. I'm Kellan Heavican on Brownfield. We appreciate you taking the time to watch us today.